Wonderful. So once more, thank you so much, Tony, for accepting to be on this podcast with me. I really appreciated having somebody who already has the experience and has built the product come to share with us how he has been able to do it. So I know this is something that my audience is going to enjoy both now and even in the future. So every SaaS founder that I've been talking to is using Claude. I mean, every single person, both founders, marketers, everyone in the industry is using Claude. And somehow people are beginning to build faster than ever, and they are shipping features that should be lasting. Features that normally take 2 months or months to ship is they are being shipped in hours. I mean, and a significant number of these founders are still losing on strategy. Yeah, they are confused about their positioning, they are unclear about their messaging, and somehow some of them are not really getting what they want to get in terms of revenue. So, today's conversation is about why those two things are happening at the same time. And here on this podcast with me is Tony, who has spent nearly 13 years building Flockler, a marketing tech platform. He's scared from founder led sales to a product led profitable exit in 2023. And now he's building Landing Rabbit, a tool that helps B2B founders turn customer insights and internal documents into sales and marketing pages. He's one of the sharpest, intelligent people I've seen on LinkedIn and that I've found talking about AI builds and what strategy actually requires. So by the end of this conversation with Tony, you would understand why Claude can't replace strategy and what the content layer actually does in B2B go to market motion, and what separates the founders who are building fast and the ones who are building fast, shipping fast, and also stalling. So, once more, Tony, you're welcome, and I'm genuinely glad to have you here.
Hey, thanks so much for the kind words and yeah, for the invite to this podcast. Happy to share my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So before we get into this whole angle and everything we want to look into, I want to go back to the beginning with you. I want to go back to where it all started because I think that would matter for some people who would listen to this podcast. They would want to know how you were able to run a company for 13 years and exited it. So would you mind walking me through how that actually started for you? What was Flockler and how did you end up building it and how did you end up exiting it as well?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, a bit of background about Flockler and myself. So I started in it was a mobile app company or a mobile website development company. In 2009, I joined that company, and one of the founders was very sort of innovative, having 10 or more businesses where he was already involved with. And during the first year or so when I was working there, we got some ideas what we could build for our customers. And those ideas they came through previous work that I did with media companies, and we started sort of building this concept of how media companies, so the newspapers, TV channels, and so forth, how they could gather content from their audience. Back then, you need to go to like 2009, 2010. iPhone wasn't a thing back then. Mobile phones were quite sort of like Nokia's, Samsung's, very basic. But they had internet connection and they had like capabilities of taking images. And the first idea that we started building was a tool that allowed anyone, either their audience or their someone working for the newspaper, to document things that are happening outside. So like newsworthy events, and then send those contributions to back to the media company. So a newspaper might have asked their audience online that have you seen something interesting or something newsworthy, and then their applications were able to kind of get content from the audience. Then so that was kind of the start, and as I mentioned, the agency owner was very innovative. uh, involved with multiple businesses, and he suggested actually that let's separate this company, let's create a new company out of this idea. We already had a few clients signed, and it looked pretty promising. So then that's how I started my first company. It was basically, I didn't plan it. I didn't have a big sort of like um, focus on creating a company, but that's how it all started. And what Flockler then became from there was that it actually became a social media marketing platform that gathered content, or still gathers actually. So it's still going really well for them. But it gathers content from social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and so forth, from the audience of the brand. So not necessarily media companies, but more like brands like Aldi, or schools like universities in the US, GoPro, Metallica, things like that. And it helps those organizations, companies to build engagement with their customers, ask them to ship, for example, images or videos when they're consuming the service, if they're in a concert, in Metallica's concert, or if they are on a holiday with a certain provider, or if they are celebrating their university milestones. Different reasons why you would gather content from your audience and then show it as a social proof. And yeah, but it all started with the idea of helping media companies first, and then it became a full self-service for some of the largest brands in the world to gather social media content. That's the kind of, in a nutshell, the Flockler story.
Whoa, that is amazing. I mean, from what one of the things you said, you didn't plan to start it. I think at this point, I would say that some of the best products that eventually gets to solve real problems were ones that didn't have. I mean, how do I say it? There was no plan around them to actually start them in the first place, and then when they eventually were started, they became one of the best products out there. And
Yeah, I,
yeah.
Yeah, I agree that it's sometimes there's like the sort of like a paralysis in a way when you're thinking about it too much, when you're planning it too hard instead of asking people and testing your ideas. So Flockler's first, the entry product was built based on discussions that I had with media companies already before I joined that mobile app company. We I was discussing with media companies in a different role, that how they could engage their audience, and what could be, what could be worth testing as a concept. So it was more from, from those organizations having a problem that they want to solve, or a new thing that they want to test. Back then, if you go back to 2009, early 2000, you might know that the newspapers were struggling. So print has declined, probably has declined even more now, but like print started decline, and on the other hand, online revenues were very low. So there was this appetite for all those media companies to try to build engagement within their online portfolio, try to involve their readers, and therefore there was this sort of like, not necessarily a huge problem to solve, but more like a larger issue in the industry to find out ways how you can build the engagement with your readers. And that's what we tapped into without having a massive idea of what the company will become. We just started with the problem to solve, or the idea to bring to life.
This makes a lot of sense. So I would say that this justifies the popular saying, the idea does not necessarily need to be well polished before you start it. If there is a problem in it, just go ahead and start it.
Yeah, totally. I think often we founders, we spend so much time polishing the idea,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it, then already like abandoning it before we actually discuss with anyone, before we
Yeah.
tell anyone what we're thinking about. And I see this all the time in, so I'm based in London, and I've got a really great networks of entrepreneurs, startups, people that are just starting or building their second or third one or whatever. And I see it all the time. It's like the people build their ideas and build those products all the way to the point when the product is, in their opinion, is ready, but for they haven't yet discussed with any of the customers. And my always my sort of like go-to advice is that do not build anything much at the start. Give some, images, concept, ideas first, and let others imagine what your company could become. So if you show someone that this is a ready product, what I've been thinking, what do you think about that? The other side of the discussion will be very hesitant to tell to you that no, this doesn't, this is just absolutely bullshit. Do not do this. They only kind of they're only gonna give you some tips like, okay, maybe you should change this small thing. But when you give them a very early draft of your idea, something that is clearly work in progress, not yet a ready product, then people start to imagine that, hey, what if you would have this feature? Then this would help me out. And you don't need to follow all those ideas. Some of them are crazy, they don't work at all. But the point is that you want others to imagine what the future would could look like, and then you pick from those instead of going all in building first.
Yeah, I agree. Very much agree. So, what I keep saying, I mean, what you said is very correct about making sure that you are speaking with the real customers or people who are your audience before building the main product. But I think that no matter how much we talk about this particular thing, we still have founders or builders who keep making the same mistake of wanting to build without validating first. And I think that would lead me to a question that I would love you to answer for us. I mean, it's not part of the questions I sent to you, but I feel this is something we should talk about because I know that to a very large extent, some of these founders who are building these things first without validating, it could be that they are afraid of talking to people, or it could be that there is nobody they know that they can talk to. So my question would be, how do you think a founder or a first time founder who is building something, who believe that what they are building is going to solve a problem, what are the best ways they can find people to talk to validate their ideas? How can they validate these ideas without putting all of those efforts first into building it?
Yeah, I think the first step, assuming that the founder doesn't really have those connections or isn't like a superstar already in LinkedIn, one of the things that I've found really interesting throughout my whole career is that when you actually contact people that are the true experts of a certain domain, even people that are kind of in high places, they've got a really reputable. They are C-level, really busy looking people. Those are most likely the people that are going to answer when you send them a message saying that, hey, I've got this idea, I'm researching this topic. Do you mind if I interview? And when you send like maybe a couple of bullet points that this would be the sort of the topics that I'm interested in, surprisingly, people that are, they might be speakers at conferences. They might be the ones that are like forward looking, the sort of industry leaders. They're actually really likely to answer yes compared to just like trying to find like someone who's an operator in the same space. So I would always start with contacting people that are kind of the gurus of that. Obviously, there's a limit. Maybe you don't get like Elon Musk to discuss with you, but like people that are actively posting on LinkedIn, talking, speakers at conferences, people that like to share their knowledge, whether or not you're a big star or a smaller star. I think those that's a great starting point. And then another thing that I did, for example, with Landing Rapid, I before we had a product, I already started like writing a lot of content on LinkedIn towards that specific audience that I want to discuss with. So not, I didn't know yet what Landing Rapid will become. We were just interviewing people. We were building or creating a prototype or something to show and so forth. We didn't know what it's gonna become. But what I wanted to establish were relationships with people that are my likely audience, and then yeah, having chats with them, asking questions like, hey, how do you run this process? Could you describe me the process from one end to another, how it works? Like often we try to kind of like we try to build an idea and then sell it to everyone, whereas it's often the better ways to ask people to describe what they do today, and then try to figure out that okay, is this solution that I'm thinking to build, is this gonna fit someone else's workflow or become a part of it, or yeah, am I trying to solve something that is not a problem?
I think we lost you there. Can you still hear me, Tony?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay, okay, wonderful. Yeah. All right. So, thank you. That was a very wonderful one because, I mean, people. There are so many founders who I know who have built something and they were not able to confirm if this is something somebody really would want to invest their money in or not, and then they go ahead and build the product just because they love the idea of the product. And from what you've said, this thing is not really rocket science. One can start with something as little as posting on LinkedIn and talking to people on LinkedIn to validate the idea. Yeah, so that would lead me to one question that I had in mind from when we started, which is how you were able to get the first set of customers for Flockler, even when social media was not a thing as of 2009, the way it is a big deal now. So I'm just kind of curious, how were you able to get these customers to adopt this product that is a social media inclined product, even when social media had not become a big deal as of then?
Yeah, that took some time for us to actually then find customers outside the media sector. So we started selling the product around 2011 or so. So 2009 I joined the company. Around 2010, towards the end of it, we had the idea. We actually what we did was that we signed the first media companies before we had a product. So we had like an agreement with them that if we get this product done, what we're planning, they will pay this certain monthly fee. So I did the sales work upfront, and found a handful of customers at the start. Then after that, I actually moved to London, and I just started going like the first customers that I found in London were actually through events. I participated every possible startup event, any possible event where I could meet media professionals and so forth. And then yeah, it's all started from there, just one customer at a time. When it then became more like a social media, not targeting media companies, but more like a branding tool, that took more time. So um, when Twitter was growing, some of the brands, so we started working with Virgin Holidays, Travelodge. Those are quite big here in the UK for hospitality business. We started working with brands like that were they had some sort of a how did they call it, like some sort of an innovation budget or a bit of money in the marketing team that they could spend on things that are maybe new out there, and I got us to a couple of those companies to help them create competitions in Twitter. So for example, asking people to send a message with a hashtag, and then pull that into a competition page, and then they drew who was the winner of that competition. That was kind of the start, and then when Instagram started growing, then the whole thing changed for Flockler. So all of a sudden, all those discussions that I had before with brands, where they were saying that I'm not sure if this thing is for us, all of a sudden when Instagram started growing, everyone wanted to build something where customer images are part of. So the travel companies were like, oh my God, like there's so many people already using the hashtag and we want to show it somewhere. And yeah, Instagram just like kind of gave the boost for Flockler. We created a self-serve version, started selling that online instead of just discussing one-to-one. But yeah, the start was very, very sort of manual sales work, going participating in events, going to accelerators, trying to contact the right companies. And yeah, we were too early with our idea. The market wasn't there, but then like for a lot of startups, what happens is that the market then kind of builds itself when you're around there long enough. So in our case, all of a sudden Instagram became such a big thing that then everyone thought that no, yeah, this makes sense. Like from me pushing, it was
Hmm.
more like okay, people are actually pulling the idea, and yeah, started. Yeah, that was kind of the moment that changed everything for Flockler.
Whoa, that's amazing. That's very wonderful to know. I mean, the transition from doing the boring work to Instagram coming and then the boost happening. I mean, that is
Yeah,
very wonderful. Yeah, very wonderful. And I would I think I would like to say that that boring part where you had to attend events and all of those programs just to get a first set of customers, that is something that many founders don't want to do today.
yeah,
It is so boring.
it is.
So boring.
We, yeah, and we like I follow the same recipe here with Lightning Rapid right now, but what we did a lot was that when a customer said that, yeah, we would love to do this Twitter campaign, but
Hmm,
we don't really know how to build this whole thing. Like we don't know how to build a page. Then we built the page for them. Like we did
hmm,
everything and anything to get that client to test the concept, whether or not it was all self-service or not, it did not matter. We were just
hmm,
like, as long as we get this customer, that's all that matters. And that's something that I see consistently with founders, that they fix their idea of becoming, for example, a self-serve business,
hmm,
and then they kind of they think that their concept fails when they don't see the traction for the self-service version.
hmm,
What they, in my opinion, what they should do is that they should try to sell the self-serve for sure, but also work as if they would be like an agency or a consultancy. They don't need to even charge fee from the client, but just to get an idea that how would this thing work for a customer, and get that customer there, so that yeah, you learn from there and you figure out what's the better way. I'm learning that currently with Landing Rapid, trying to figure out like what's the best way of onboarding customers. How can I help them to get better, like get started with the product better. And I think every founder should kind of like be humble enough to learn that for every company that they're building.
hmm, hmm. Humility. That's the key word there. I got that. Okay. Yeah. So I would love to ask another unique question. I know we are a bit drifting from the questions I sent that we're going to cover, but I still believe that these things are really important, especially for early stage founders who are trying to navigate this route, who don't know exactly where to put their feet and how to be tenacious enough to stay the course. So I would love to ask, how were you able to remain determined in those years, I mean, from 2009 to 2011, before the sales and the boom started, how were you encouraged? How did you stay encouraged to navigate those years before the boom started? I mean, what exactly is the quality, or what motivational speech were you listening to all of these years before it happened?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I gotta be honest that during the first years and then also kind of like seeing that yes, this concept works, but we don't know how to make this sort of like scalable, and how to kind of like avoid being the agency behind it and actually build the pages for our customers and whatever it needed at any given time. I gotta be honest and say that it was hard. It kind of like when you have a clear sort of you have paying customers, you see that this works, but you don't know how to scale it. It's not an easy place to be. But I think the sort of like the founder mindset or having this curiosity, having this sort of like persistence, being like, well, I will prove them all wrong. I will get this done. That's the mindset that you need, and also you need to be like constantly listening, um, uh, keeping your eyes open, trying to figure out that what would be the best way to market this, to sell this, what would be the scalable way of like getting more people interested in the product. And yeah, you either have that mentality or you don't. I don't think it's something that you can actively kind of you can learn it, but you have to have the motivation to do it. I see so many founders that are like they just want to have the nice sides of the business. They don't want to have the hard work and the disappointments. They give up too easy. They when everything is not working as they plan, they give up instead of trying to figure out the way. And also like especially right now when the tech is changing so fast because of the AI, you
Yeah.
you have to be listening, you have to be following what your customers how they're changing their behavior in this new market. And the more rapid the change is, the more it means that you probably need to give up on your original ideas and yeah, adjust and try to find a way to make things work. But yeah, I would be lying if I'd say that that it was easy with Flockler or that it has been easy with Landing Rabbit either. So yeah, it's a part of the like a founder game.
Hmm. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So what I'm hearing is that for a founder to be able to navigate this path, they must have the guts to actually stay in the game for long, and they have to be flexible enough to give up on some certain ideas that they started with in case if the behavior of the buyers changes in the future. That makes a lot
Totally.
of sense.
And
Yeah.
totally, and not only if the buyer kind of behavior changes in the future, it's also like when you first create a prototype or an idea of that product and you share it with others, you need to build quite a lot of conviction first so that you have the guts to actually share it. So you have to believe in your idea, but at the same time you have to be able to adjust it really quickly. And I think that's one of the sort of most difficult things as a founder, that if you want to share your early idea with someone, you have to believe in it, but at the same time, you have to be able to modify it, drop it, reconfigure it really fast. So yeah, that's pretty hard task. In a 9 to 5 job, you will be given a task, a goal, and you need to go towards that. There's no, like, or at least you shouldn't have a situation where it's constantly changing. Whereas as a founder, you have to believe in that this is my task, this is what I want to do, this is the problem that I want to solve, and the next day you need to be able to kind of like change your course and be like, yeah, that didn't work. I'll need to go to the other direction. So yeah, that's hard as a founder to accept.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, this conversation is getting really interesting, and I'm trying my best not to drift away from the major topic we are here to talk about. So I'm going to hold myself from not drifting away because I still have other things coming up for me. So maybe we can revisit them when we have prosecuted the reason why we are here. So Now you're building landing rabbit and you're using cloud code every day. And there was a certain post you made that really caught my attention that made me say, okay, I think we need to talk about this. So you said cloud is excellent at building, but it doesn't know the best choices and it can guide you on product strategy. I mean, that's a really precise observation. So, where did that clarity come from for you? I mean, how were you able to find out this? That Claude is excellent at building, but it doesn't know the best choices and it can't guide on product strategy.
Yeah, I'd say that there's a couple of sides to this. So first of all, I use Claude Code every day for creating something new for our product or fixing something inside the product. So I'm constantly kind of witnessing how good and how bad Claude can be, or any other. I'm not necessarily referring to Claude Code specifically, AI models and tools, but Claude is the choice for me most often. When I built something yesterday, Claude suggested me things that were obviously wrong, but you only knew them if you knew the whole sort of like context of the features. So by on the surface, it looks pretty much the same, but then if you go deeper, you understand that okay, this is actually slightly different in a certain view. So Claude and all the other models, they even if you give them the full context, they don't have the capacity at the moment to go through that whole thing without burning a lot of tokens and without maximizing their context windows. I think someone said quite nicely the other day that you can compare today's models, and they've got this 1 million tokens limit at the moment, most of them. Someone said
Mm,
that it feels like the movie Memento, where you had only like the memories of 24 hours, but the consequences were there still. It's an old movie, but worth watching. So that's how it sometimes feels when building things with AI models, that they only remember the context that you gave them, and only until certain point when the context window is too full, then they forget what's going on. So yeah, that's one side. And then what I see from like in our sort of client base, and when new people start using our product, what we see consistently is that someone who sort of gives the idea for Landing Rabbit that this page is something that I want to create. AI writes exactly what you ask. Basically, it will take the context of your company. In our system, it takes that context, then based on your idea, it creates the page, the actual content for you. And it's really, really on point when you take a look at it as a third party person. You read the input, you read the context. So it's really good at like precisely writing what you kind of ask for. But the problem is that if your context, what your business does and what your positioning is, if that
mhm,
doesn't really match in founder's head, so if the founder doesn't really know what the positioning is, then the copy feels maybe like average, or maybe it doesn't feel right at all. When you're unsure about your positioning, then anything that AI generates starts to feel like yeah, just like vanilla. Like it doesn't feel anything. It doesn't feel like right or wrong. It just feels like okay, this is just not the sort of right copy for me. So what I see consistently is that founders, they come back to me, they ask me that can you help me to kind of verify if this copy is good or not, because I'm pretty unsure about my, like what should I actually say on the page, and what the story should be, what the strategy should be. Is this content credible in front of my audience? And does it, if prospect arrives here, do they know what call to action to take, and what should be the call to action? So it fast very, very quickly goes back to the fundamentals of what is your positioning, what are you trying to do, and you can apply that same to design, to copy, to coding. It's the same thing. If you are very sure what you want to get out of the AI service, you will get that out. It makes some mistakes because of the generative nature of the whole thing, but like in general, it gives you the output what you wanted. But if you don't know what you want, then nothing can save you. And I think that goes back to the question that you have, that like the strategy uh, versus implementation. That why doesn't Claude or any other model always produce the best results? It's the input from the positioning and the input from the user that matters. That's why it doesn't always produce the outcome that we want.
Yeah, I agree because I believe that it's not all founders who have marketing backgrounds because it should take somebody who understands this thing, I mean, on the customer side to be able to know what positioning is and how they should position their product, right? And founders who do not really have that, I mean, it's a bit of a problem to them because from what you shared, I also have a client right now who is facing the same problem. What is on their website does not really match what they want to say, and it is causing a lot of confusion for their customers because they don't know exactly what to believe, whether they are to believe what they are hearing on calls or they are to believe what is on the website, and that can create a lot of friction for the customers. So doubt
Yeah.
would actually lead me to the next question, which I would love to ask about execution speed and strategic clarity. Now, for founders who do not know how to merge these two, for I mean who do not have this background, I mean marketing background, who does not know how to communicate to the buyers and to the customers, what do you think they should do? How should they bridge this gap between execution speed, I mean coding with Claude, and also having this strategic clarity on what to ship out there and what to leave? Of course, it is not all of them that have access to you or have access to me. I mean, there are still some of them who don't have access to people like us who can guide them on what to do. So for founders like that who could be listening to this podcast, what do you think that they should do? How can they match this gap, or fill in this gap between execution speed and strategic clarity on what they should be talking about on the client facing side?
Yeah, that's a great question. I one of the things that I've been running with founders, regardless of if they use Landing Rabbit at all, and what I found really helpful is that the and if we don't talk about the whole application, if we talk about the marketing side, and sort of like knowing what the positioning of the product should be, one of the really helpful ones have been to record voice notes around the topic of why a customer is using the product, and going really detailed around one customer at a time. So if you have a lot of different profiles using, or you don't even need to have the customers yet, but if you have ideas of like who are the actual customers that you want to target, the going into detail, explaining yourself in your own words, why a person, first of all, why are they using this software? Like what are the sort of like the benefits, what are the features, but even more crucially, why they would pick your solution right now. So like what is the trigger? Is it because they've achieved a certain level of sophistication in their workflow and the current tools don't they don't get there, or are they actually hitting some sort of a kind of like bottleneck or problem? Depends on the product a bit what it is, but like what is the moment for that customer that they then go like, yeah, I really need this tool. The benefits, the features are the same, but why does this person hit that? And recording one, two, three of those, and again, not thinking about the structure of the recording, not really planning that much, and just getting that transcript out of it. And the transcript you can then push into different tools. You can use that transcript for brainstorming if you don't use Landing Rabbit, or if you don't have anyone to help you, a consultant. If you, yeah, if you are just starting out, you don't want to pay any, you don't want to spend any money. But if you have at least access to free tools like ChatGPT free, or anywhere where you can brainstorm that idea, then that will be really, really helpful in your positioning. And that same idea you can then use when you contact someone. Let's say you would start, someone would start working with you. They could send that raw uh, sort of stream of thoughts, and then another person can structure it, can have a think like what could be the actual sort of like more structured idea out of this. But I think often when you discuss with founders in events, at events, for example, you ask them to explain that, how does your customer use the product? Like, can you tell me like how does it work for the customer and how do they use it? They accidentally kind of reveal everything important. They are so enthusiastic about it. They tell like, oh, this customer does this, and before they did that, and now this solution does this. They accidentally tell all the relevant things. So that's why I found the voice notes be very helpful, that you just need to go into that mode of freely describing what you actually do, what how do you actually help your clients, and then yeah, you will get a great sort of like base content base, which you can then restructure and improve as a written output. But it's a super rich sort of documentation of who you are. And like I said, it doesn't need to be a ready customer. It can be just like something that is still like an idea, and you have an idea of like what type of customer would experience that issue. Maybe you have some experience, maybe you've interviewed some people, but yeah, it doesn't need to be a ready product. But the more obviously you have, the more ready the product is, the better that becomes.
Hmm. I think you've just shared a $1 million worth of strategy right here for founders who are still starting, or even for founders who have been in the game for long but don't know how to navigate these things. This is a very
Yeah.
powerful strategy you shared here, because not everyone understands this. I mean, and this is also what Landing Rabbit is doing, where they get all of this transcripts or raw information and then feed it to Landing Rabbit and it builds marketing materials for them. Am I correct?
Yeah, correct. So, like just before this recording, I had a founder with me who I asked. She asked my help before signing up, and I said to her that just record me a voice note. So basically, then transcript of that, and tell me those exact things what I mentioned. That why the customer would use it, why now, what is it, what's the trigger, and her sort of the explanation was so good. It was just freely talking, and then we added that this morning to Landing Rabbit, and then she was like, "Okay, so now my idea is like it's live. Like I can see a web page with this idea," and she was like, "But I never could have done that." I said that, well, you actually did it. It's just like the AI helped you to restructure the information, to add some colors to it, and so forth, but everything is already inside your head. So it's like you just need to get it out there, and yeah, it's always fascinating if I can be part of that process. But yeah, you're right that that's the key. What we're trying to build, that as a founder, you can just, when you create new pages, blog posts, or if you're helping the founder, it doesn't matter if it's a founder or someone helping them. Your only task is to give those insights, and then Landing Rabbit will not create you 100% ready content. That's not the target. The target is that all of those ideas are packed, presented nicely, and then you can edit. You can make it a lot better from there. But like it all starts from your insights, and AI is just like an enabler to make it, visualize it, to get your ideas to a structured format.
Hmm. This is so beautiful. I mean, this is a very good way to go to market. I mean, for a product that has not really been known like that, it's a very wonderful strategy, and I love it. And it has similar things to do with a report I run with my clients as well that I call the intelligence report, where I get to extract the raw information from them and then use it to give them strategies and roadmaps on how to approach their products and all of that. So this is, it makes a lot of sense, and it validates for me that this is one of the ways to build out materials to enter the market and to also get to know more about the product, one, and also a way of also letting or helping the customers or your audience understand deeper what you're doing without having to sound differently on the website, differently on LinkedIn, differently on sales. So that makes a lot of sense. I know our time is fast spent, so I'm going to ask you one more question, which is a question I ask every guest. So, if someone listening right now is exactly in the situation that we have been describing since the beginning of this podcast, building fast, shipping constantly, but their pipeline isn't really doing anything to or adding up to what they want to see. So, what is that one thing you would want them to walk away from this conversation knowing?
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing. I'd say that the for me it's always about the actual positioning or knowing what your strategy is, and whatever the tools are that help you to go there, or whatever uh, help you can get from experts outside. That's the most valuable work you can do. You can always, send thousands and thousands of direct messages or emails, or create content every day on LinkedIn. But if you don't have that strategy clear, who is the customer, why now? Obviously, what you need a product, but like it's more about like who is the customer, why now, and then yeah, go after that. But like some tools can help you with that. You will have like room for exploring these ideas. But a lot of that work is just getting more customer discussions, and also being open minded. Like often founders I meet, they might tell me that no, I don't want to have a meeting with those guys because I don't think they're our customers. And the mistake is already in that sentence, that I don't think they're our customers. So I always approach opportunities. Anyone who contacts me, I'm very likely to have a chat with them, just because I don't have the answers. They might be the best customer for me. I just don't know it yet. So yeah, that's being open-minded, and having the strategy in place, and making sure that you keep iterating that strategy is more important than delivering the next 15 pieces of content. So yeah, having those
Yeah.
two things.
Great. This is a very solid one. I mean, being open minded and also making sure that you're flexible with your strategy. A good one there,
Yeah.
Tony. So, one more thing, Tony. Where can people find you, and what is the most useful thing you have for them right now?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn. If you type Landing Rabbit, it will be easier to find my name. Tony is the Toni is my first name, but yeah, Landing Rabbit will probably be the easiest way to find me. And then I'm always open for a chat. So just yeah, connect with me, send me a message. Anything about entrepreneurship, marketing, anything you might want to discuss, I'm happy to discuss outside the Landing Rabbit use case. And then why would someone get started with Landing Rabbit? I'd say that those companies that have a need for keeping their website updated and writing new content consistently, those are the best ones, most kind of like best prospects for us, or best users. So that can be a couple of reasons. One, if you're building a tech company and your product is developing really fast because you're coding with AI 10 times faster than in the past, then most likely your website is lagging behind consistently. So what our tool does is that you can just tell what you built just now, and it will help you to create a document out of it, or a landing page, or whatever you need for your page. So it helps you keep the pages updated. And then another use case is that if you're doing more like go to market or sales where you need content, then yeah, those are the two use cases. So they're all around like you need content, personalized, targeted, very detailed content. That's where Landing Rabbit can help. But yeah, landingrabbit.com, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm happy to have a chat. Everything around entrepreneurship and marketing, and yeah, uh, technology at least.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tony, for coming here. And for everyone listening, I mean, today's conversation has been so amazing. If you leave me here, I'm going to keep Tony for the next 2 hours, but I don't want to do that. So, yeah, if today's conversation made you think about the gap between what your content is currently doing, I mean, where you are with your business and what it should be doing in your sales process and how your customer should be seeing you, the next step is very simple. Just go ahead and book a 30 minutes call, and we'll look at your current content system, look at your current positioning, and look at every single thing you are doing, and then map it against what your sales team is hearing on calls or what yourself is hearing on calls. And we'll show you exactly where the gap is and how to fix it. Thank you again, Tony, genuinely from the depth of my heart. I really, really appreciate it that you are here with us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, and have a wonderful one. We hope to see you again on this podcast.
Thank you so much, Judith, for the invite, and yeah, it was pleasure to be here. Always happy to share anything I've learned. So yeah, really grateful for this opportunity, and yeah, have a great weekend ahead, and when we're recording, and yeah, I'm sure we will meet through LinkedIn at least frequently
Yeah,
because you're a frequent poster as well.
yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much, Tony. Have a wonderful one. Bye.